Deion Sanders has ushered in a new era in college football. Ever since he got hired by Colorado to be their head coach, he's brought a lot of attention, publicity, and revenue to this program and this community. So a lot of teams have seen the success that Deion Sanders has had, a big name from the NFL world, one of the most recognizable athletes in the history of sports. And he has not just brought energy to Colorado, but he also has improved this football program. So a bunch of other teams, a bunch of other programs that are a lot smaller than Colorado, they're trying to copy and paste this same blueprint. They're trying to get a guy that has a lot of notoriety from the NFL, rather it's a coach or a player, and they hope that making one of these guys their head coach not only will bring them a bunch of attention and interject them a quick spark of energy, but also this will help sell their football program. Thursday night, the first night of week 1, I saw several former NFL players making their debuts as college football head coaches. Michael Vick, DeSean Jackson, they're head coaches at HBCUs, which I'm not trying to say that DeSean Jackson doesn't know X's and O's. I just never thought that I would see DeSean Jackson ever being a head coach. Michael Vick, more so understandable because he's a former quarterback, and a lot of former quarterbacks tend to become head coaches. Then Eddie George, who's a NFL Hall of Fame running back, he's the new head coach of Bowling Green. He won his debut. He was the head coach at Tennessee State for a few years ago, and he kind of was the first former Hall of Fame NFL player to kind of benefit off the hiring of Deion Sanders at Jackson State, then at Colorado. So Deion Sanders has made a lot of programs obsessed with trying to recapture what Deion Sanders brought to Boulder when he first got that job. And the issue with this approach of all of these programs trying to be copycats of Deion Sanders and Colorado's situation, hiring these celebrity coaches, it plays into a popular narrative that I often see on X a lot, that if you weren't a good player, how can you possibly be a good football coach? How can you develop guys? How can you put guys in situations to blossom and turn into great players when you weren't a great player yourself? And that's always a valid question, and the answer seems to make a lot of sense. You know, if it is that way, that some folks use the logic to use when they pose this question to you, thinking it's a got you thing, and you come back and you tell them the majority of the best coaches ever never played football or they weren't that good at football, then it debunks that question entirely. And it debunks the perception that just because you were a good player means that you're going to be a good head coach. No, it doesn't. Being a great player and being a great head coach requires two different skill sets. It's one thing to be a good player of the game, but it's another thing to be a good teacher of the game. Can you teach players the same things that made you great? Can you teach players how to get open on a 3rd and 7? Can you teach a player where to go once his second read is blocked off and he has nowhere else to throw the football to if you're Michael Vick? These are the skill sets and the traits that you need as a head coach that you don't necessarily have when you're a former player. Bill Belichick, him being a celebrity coach in college football will work only due to his experience in the background he has being a head coach in the NFL, which Bill Belichick just isn't some random guy from the NFL world. This is the greatest head coach in the history of football. This is an 8-time Super Bowl champion, 6 times as a head coach and 2 times as an assistant. So it's not like Bill Belichick is just another washed head coach from the NFL ranks that's coming down to college football. No, This is the most accomplished coach in the history of football, college football, and NFL combined. So let's not be talking down Bill Belichick like he's the same thing as Deion Sanders. The background, the prestige is a lot better compared to Deion's for Bill Belichick. But the other coaches like DeSean Jackson, Michael Vick, Eddie George, that have this celebrity status, coaching in college football, I think that this new era it is not going to work out like how a lot of people envision it could work out. You know, the selling point behind these celebrity coaching hires is that if you get a big name that fans in your fan base and boosters, donors within your program recognize and they grew up watching play, they're going to be more willing to put more money into the football program because it's a guy that, because of their name, they can trust. They can get behind Arkansas hiring John Gruden because of what John Gruden did at the NFL stage. North Carolina lowered their academic standards, and they gave Bill Belichick $20 million to use an NIL on his roster. So if you have a celebrity coach with a lot of popularity and status from the NFL, it makes the premise of hiring them intriguing from guys within your program that donate a lot of money because you're more willing to donate to a name that you recognize than you are to your typical head coaching candidate that had to work his way up the traditional way. Assistant, water boy, coordinator, then eventually he gets his big time gig. These guys that are coming from the NFL world are only getting these head coaching opportunities. They are skipping the line, having no real coaching experience, but they get these jobs because the success they had as a player in the NFL. Like Michael Vick and DeSean Jackson. These guys have no experience coaching in college football as assistant coach or coordinator, but they got their head coaching opportunities because of what they did as a player due to the success that Deion Sanders has had at Colorado and Jackson State. But the experiment for Deion in Colorado has worked because Deion is one of one. Not every good former NFL player or coach is going to work out in college football. It's just a lot of differences between coaching and playing in the NFL and being able to coach up 19 to 20-year-olds.